Visiting Paris can feel like you're inside a living, breathing museum. I mean, no city in the world has done a better job of preserving its history. But Paris itself is still a very remarkable contemporary city with its own black past and unique black present. This is Nelson George from BlackAtlas.com. Welcome to Paris. You see tourists in New York, when I live in New York, and you see tourists come there and they look, wow, the Empire State Building, wow, the 42nd Street. Well, I felt the same way when I first came on the Champs-Élysées. You see the Arc de Triomphe, and you're like, wow, it's like from a Humphrey Bogart movie from Casablanca. You don't really expect to really ever be there. And this is one of those cities where you get a wow factor a lot. Eiffel Tower, Champs-Élysées, there's so many buildings and so many iconic structures here. It's just an amazing city. Paris is one of my favorite cities to visit. Actually, it's everybody's favorite cities to visit. And so it's really cool to be a black person in Paris. I can't be mad at that. The terrace that overlooks the Eiffel Tower, one of the most famous sites in the city. You'll see a few things. You'll see the Eiffel Tower. It's beautiful during the day and spectacular at night. You'll see a lot of African brothers selling fake Eiffel Towers for your keychain. So that's something else to look for. And also you might see some break dancers. We just saw some breakers here who believed that they were dancing to 3 Michael Jackson songs and then a James Brown song. The African and African American aspect of culture is very present here in the terrace overlooking the Eiffel Tower.
Michael Jackson! Woo!
Rest in peace.
Mon groupe, c'est Criminals, on était là à la Tour Eiffel, on dansait, c'est notre loisir, c'est notre plaisir et on fait ça à fond quoi.
Oui, on fait beaucoup de compétitions, notamment aux USA, à Los Angeles, à San Diego, aussi en Hollande ou en Allemagne, ça dépend. On essaie de voyager un peu partout dans le monde, histoire d'apporter différentes cultures, de se faire connaître et qu'on s'exprime à fond pour que les gens nous connaissent.
We're in Place Vendôme. You see the beautiful statue right there, the Ritz Hotel's over here. That's enough French history. Let's talk about shopping. This area here is a very big shopping center. There's Dior, there's Bulgari, Patek Philippe, Van Cleef, Chanel, and up that street there, lots and lots of very big brand name shops for you shoppers. Over here, it's gonna be Rue des Honorés, which is right off Place Vendôme. More boutique-y, small, cute little spots, but also good shopping. So, for all you folks who come to Paris, and I know a few of you come to Paris to shop, Place Vendôme is a great starting point for your journey to spending American dollars. I am on the Rive Gauche, which is the left bank of Paris. I'm standing in front of 14 Rue La Prince, which is a longtime home of Richard Wright. He lived here from 1948 to 1959. Richard Wright is one of my idols. I did a column in the Village Voice years ago called Native Son. So when I first came to Paris, I made a pilgrimage here to try and find this building. And I'm walking by, I have the little guidebook. I'm like, oh my God, where's Richard Wright live? And I couldn't find it. And I was very depressed. I kept walking up and down the street, back and forth, back and forth. No one would speak to me. I'm like, what's going on? And I kind of slumped against the wall here, and I looked up, and boom. Henri de Letters Nord American, means Black American writer. Richard Wright had lived here from 1948 to 1959 on the wall up there. So that was a big moment for me, quite honestly, to connect the dots between Wright's life in Chicago. He lived in Brooklyn, near where I lived, and then to come to Paris to see where he lived the last years of his life was quite remarkable. It's a great homage. And this whole area on Saint-Germain-des-Prés is very influenced by writers. Hemingway was here, but also the black writers. In fact, there's a spot about maybe 4 or 5 blocks from here called Du Magot, which is a cafe, very simple cafe. And there's a famous story. Richard Wright, James Baldwin, and Chester Himes all had a meeting there and had an argument there, essentially. It's a long and complicated story. All 3 writers have written about what happened that night. Wright says Baldwin stormed off. Baldwin says they had a really good time. Hines said he just walked off because he got tired of listening to it. Who knows what really happened that night at the Café du Margot, but it's just one of those things, those great literary moments, many of which happened in the Black expatriate community here in the Rive Gauche. I'm at Cité de la Musique, which is a museum here in Paris. It has a fantastic exhibit on Miles Davis. We want Miles. That's here now. In the winter, we'll be traveling to Montreal in 2010 and eventually to the United States. It's a testament not just to Miles Davis, but to the vitality and the richness of the history of jazz here in Paris. Whether it's a jazz club at night that's playing contemporary music, graffiti of a great jazz artist you might have seen at a wall in Paris, or museum. Jazz, the African-American experience here in Paris are all connected and celebrated in a very profound way. So we want Miles, the exhibit here is just one example of the connection between Paris and jazz. So if you come to Paris, look at the guides. There's going to be some jazz clubs, there's going to be music, there's going to be maybe films about jazz. Paris, jazz, the African-American experience, all connected. I'm standing in front of the famous Sacred Heart Church here in Paris. I've had an amazing time here. I've seen breakdancers in front of the Eiffel Tower, visited vintage old school jazz clubs, and talked to Black expatriates about their life here in Paris. Nelson George, BlackAtlas.com. Catch you in the air.